yoga teachers. I'm going to be cruel to be kind and deliver some of the hard truths that you need to hear if you want to grow and build an online yoga business. These are the things that most people, they won't tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But right now, I am not concerned with pandering to you because I want you to grow. I want you to have the freedom that you're looking for. And I think right now we need to just have an honest conversation and look at why the way you're working isn't working. And I think you'll probably discover that why within some of these hard truths. So let's get into it. Hard truth number 1. If you're trying to grow on social media, and it's important that you do, you cannot do the basic. You cannot do the bare minimum. So many people try to hack social media. They try and find the fastest way of doing this, the way to optimize their content schedule so that they can create like 30 reels in 30 minutes. But honestly, if you're creating 30 reels in 30 minutes, there's not going to be much substance there. There's not going to be much value there. There's not going to be much reason in that content for somebody to want to follow you and to want to potentially buy from you one day. There is no hack around hard work, and social media is hard work. And I say this to be cruel, but kind, because I think everybody's trying to get there faster, quicker. And then they come to me and they say, Charlie, why isn't it growing? And I say, oh, well, because you're just doing the bare minimum. And I can see it, but you don't see it because you've tried to hack it. But sometimes there is no shortcut. There is no way around it. The only way is through. And the way through is just to look for what is working and replicate that in your own way. If you're struggling with this right now, and all of this sounds great, but you're asking yourself, well, Charlie, great, but how do I do that? Go and check out this video. I'm going to take you through an outlier exercise so you can learn how to spot what's working and how to use those frameworks for your own content so that you can actually grow. Hard truth number 2, building anything of significance online means that your life is going to be a little bit imbalanced and a little bit chaotic. There's just no way around it. Again, I think a lot of people try to take this holistic approach to business and life, and they want to have the perfect balance of work and life. But honestly, any successful person I know works way longer hours than the average person, but they wouldn't trade their lives for anybody else's. That's the difference. Yes, it's hard work. Yes, it's more than most people do. But the difference is you are the one deciding what you get to do. And that for me is the most motivating thing. So instead of trying to find this perfect balance, where you work so many hours and then you take this time for yourself, you have to accept that there's going to be times where you're overworked, underslept, overwhelmed, where, you've got your head in your hands and you're thinking, what have I signed up for? But then there will also be times where you are taken aback by what you've built, by the lifestyle that you have that you never could have had if you didn't work through those hard times. So this is why it's really important to be realistic and just say to yourself, like, for the next few years, let me just get my head down. Let me just commit to this. Because where could this take me in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? Because the trajectory when you're building a business is completely different. If you're working for an employer, it takes so long to get anywhere, to climb that ladder. If you've got your own business, you make the rules. You decide, and it all comes down to your input. So that is what I would be focusing on instead of trying to find this perfect balance. Hard truth number 3, you need to learn skills beyond teaching. Obviously, being a great teacher is important if you are a yoga teacher, but those are not the skills that help you build your business. You need a completely different set of skills. You need to understand videography, editing, web design, graphic design. You need to understand marketing and sales. You even need to understand how to manage the money in your business so that you've got good cash flow. You need to wear all of these different hats. And if you're listening to that and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what have I signed up for? This sounds so overwhelming. It's not. Learning all of these skills gives you freedom. These are like high return on investment skills. Certain skills are really great, but they're not the skills that make you money, right? Teaching is kind of one of those skills because it's not the teaching that makes you the money. It's how you market the value of that teaching that makes you the money, right? You can have a great workshop, but who knows that it's a great workshop unless you've communicated that workshop to people so that they actually want to pay for it and sign up to it. Am I making myself clear? You cannot just focus on teaching. You have to prioritize the business skills too if you want your business to sustain you. Otherwise, you may as well just go and work at a studio and have someone else do all of that. But that someone else will also reap all of the benefits because they do have that skill set. Hard truth number 4. Consistency only counts if you are consistent through the hard times. I think we have this idea of consistency being just posting every single day. But what you'll often find when you're trying to build something is that things underperform. Things will be so underwhelming at times. You will put so much effort, time, and attention into something and it will flop. And then what do? You can't just throw your toys out of the pram and be like, oh, don't want to do this anymore. It's just not going my way. No, the people who are successful, the people who build businesses, they are so persistent during those times when things aren't going well. Because, and I hope this point inspires you, when something doesn't go well, it is a great opportunity to learn. You can ask yourself a few questions. Was it the subject or was it just my delivery? Was it the way I organized that information so someone just couldn't quite get the concept? They couldn't quite understand the value? Was it that there wasn't really much of a hook for them, so it just wasn't of interest? Did I not break it down in a way that was easy to understand? There's so many lines of questioning that you can go down to understand why something hasn't done well or why it has done well. So what I would start doing is looking at other people's content that has done well so that you can identify those qualities in their content that made it successful and try to emulate those qualities in your own content. That's all it is about. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just a case of having your eyes open and being observant. Hard truth number 5. This one is basically about spending time at the computer. You are gonna have to get used to it. I know as yoga teachers, we're very used to having a physical job where we're moving around a lot. And that can be one of the biggest challenges of building something online, is having to sit yourself down at the desk and put in the hours here. But there are ways around this. Yes, there will be times that you've got to sit at your desk and be stationary. But there's other times, for example, when you're doing emails, there is nothing stopping you from being on a walk doing your emails. I know that might not sound ideal, but oftentimes I'm just doing laps around my garden and I'm on my phone doing my emails because at least I'm outside, I'm in the fresh air, I'm moving around, but I'm also being productive. Anytime I'm ideating for videos and I'm coming up with video concepts, I'm usually using the voice recorder on my phone and I'm just speaking to it to do a giant brain dump as I'm walking around. I often do that when I'm on a walk with my dog so that he's getting what he wants and I'm also doing what I want. I'm working, but I'm also working in a way that doesn't feel like work, and I'm also moving, so it feels better when I have got to sit down and do the desk stuff later on in that day. So it really is just about finding these ways to still get up and around and make it work for you. If, being sat at a desk all day really bothers you, there's ways around it. Truth number 6, I think we're on number 6, is some people will judge you for selling yoga. They just will. You will receive some mean messages. Some people will say you've whitewashed yoga, you've westernized it, you've culturally appropriated it. There's so many labels that people will use to put you down, and you're gonna have to get over it. There's no way around it. Even, just the mean comments that you receive online. And it might not even be meant to be mean. It might just be feedback that hasn't been delivered in the nicest way. And you've just got to, read it, either learn from it or just disregard it. But whatever it is, you've got to separate yourself emotionally from the information, from whatever it is. I remember a couple of years ago when I posted my first ever handstand program, and I got a really mean message from someone, and they were just I'm just so sick of people selling yoga. And it really hurt at the time. I felt terrible, and it really prevented me from selling what I was selling. And then, I stood back and I thought, well, actually, how is what I'm doing any different to any service in the world? It really isn't when we think about it in simple terms. Yoga is a service. Going to a class, how is it any different than going to a Pilates class? You know, one of the things that I do take solace in is the fact that we sell personal development. We sell positive change. We sell an opportunity for people to better themselves, not just like throwaway items. So if you do ever have that struggle with selling yoga, hopefully reframing it in that way helps you just the same way it helped me. The last hard truth is that you need to take action and you need to take action fast. Whenever I speak to people and they're telling me like what they're working on, normally a lot of things are either in their drafts or they're still in their minds, but they've not like worked them into existence yet. And I find this is one of the big differences between people who are successful and people who aren't. The people who are successful, they have an idea, they've acted on it. Like they've thought about something in the morning and by the afternoon, they've conceptualized it, they've got a plan, they know what they're building on. Versus the other type of people who are still thinking about it a few weeks later. That is the difference. Like the amount of times I've had ideas for things and then I've just let them like sit in the drafts folder in the back of my mind. And a few months later, I've seen someone post about that idea. You know, maybe they've come out with that program idea that I had and I've thought, oh, damn, that was my idea. And that looks really good and it's getting a really great response. And I know it would have been brilliant. I just didn't act on it fast enough. Honestly, your ability to turn things around and to move at speed, to be nimble is the most important thing because there's just no point if you're working on something like in your head but you're just not putting it out into existence. You know, it's not benefiting anybody there. It's not benefiting you. I also find with any project, whether it's like big or small, does not matter. You have to set yourself parameters, give yourself a deadline for that project. Actually get serious about saying to yourself, this is when I'm going to complete on this. Otherwise you never will. It will forever be like this ongoing project. And you'll never get it out into the world. And I say this because I've done this. I know so many other people who do this. And I think when we're really honest and we're having this honest conversation, we know we all do this. It's so easy to procrastinate a project when you don't have a deadline that you're working towards. But when you've got a deadline, it makes you hustle and it makes you get going because you just have to make those snap decisions. Now, I know a lot of you probably haven't got a plan for 2026. Most yoga teachers don't. They are just winging it because honestly, I think yoga teachers have this trait of just being in like woo-woo land where we're not really serious about our goals and we're not really serious about the businesses that we have. If you're on the side of yoga teacher who is serious and you want to have a plan, you want to get serious, you want to set deadlines and complete on those goals, then I have something for you. I'm running a mastermind at the beginning of January to help you set your 2026 timeline. I'm going to take you through an exercise to get clear on what your 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month goals are, how you can actually work towards completing them so that by the end of the year, you could have things built that you don't even know you are capable of right now. So if you want that kind of direction, if you want to be part of a group who's also going through that exercise to get their ideas too, the link is in the description. I hope to see you there.